What's up, guys, and welcome back to episode 3 of how to build your FIFA 21 Ultimate Team. So at the very start here, what you guys are seeing is just really some vanity stuff. I just wanted to get the DC United kits. This year's kits are actually like kind of throwbacks to their inaugural season, and I just like the look of the black, red, black. They actually had them in last year's game, but for some reason they screwed up they changed the kits and the shorts with the kits, excuse me, with one of the patches, and I just hated the fact that it's just one of the small little bugs, I guess, that they weren't really paying attention to. It's not super important, but they did get the kits right for this year, and I'm actually really happy about that because it's just a cool look. I like that look of black, red, black. You don't have too many kits in the game that have that. So what you guys are going to see in today's episode, it's actually somewhat of a short one. It's really just SBC stuff. And the reason for that is I wanted to show you guys that, the SBCs are helping us build our team. I'm not avoiding online play. It's just, for me personally, I get very drained at the end of a FIFA cycle by FIFA 20. I play a lot of my games really late on just because I like having a lot of those special cards. And when the new ones start, I know a lot of people are really keen to jump into the gameplay. Go play online games if you want. For me personally, it's just, I don't have that motivation quite yet until there's one or two cards that come out that I just like, I really want to play with this guy right now. I'm just kind of going through the motions of building the team up. And I think that's kind of what this series has started to be about, is just how to make the team. But I don't want you guys thinking that you have to follow this or not be able to play online until a certain amount. Like, you can go play online as soon as you're ready, because it'll sort you guys out in terms of where you actually are from a skill standpoint. So when you're playing games, if you go play those 5 and you just lose them all, you'll get put in a lower division. So I wouldn't worry too much about feeling like your team's inadequate. I'm just showing you guys how I build using what I have at our disposal in the game. And SBCs right now are just the motivation I have in terms of building the team, because that's where the best use of your coins are. I know it's been a really slow progress, but I haven't spent too much time trading or anything like that, if at all. So I'm not worried about like sitting there making deals or anything like that. If you guys want to know kind of tactics on how to trade, there's a million people that go out there and trade with it, or they spend time like flipping cards and stuff like that. Trade with it. They go out and they flip cards. I'm not a big advocate of that, just because I don't like spending the time that goes into it. To me, this is just something that I spend a half an hour a day, maybe at the very most, doing, and then your team's just slowly building up and up and up. And then once we get right into the game, at least I'm kind of on somewhat of a usable playing field. So as you guys can see here, I was doing the hybrid nations, and the hybrid nations actually is one of the ones that I just recommend powering through. If you can make this work, we've got enough stuff in our club that I was able to do some of the early ones like really cheap, really effectively, only a couple K. And as you guys saw there, we got Trent Alexander-Arnold. So a huge pull. He goes for about 30, 40K. Those are the types of influxes that you're just going to get from getting really good packs. That was like a prime gold players pack. Next thing you know, you got a card that you can just throw into your team, or like I like to do, just flip all these guys really early on. I know their prices are a little bit low. He'll probably go up eventually, but he'll drop down before he goes back up, if that makes any sense. He's going to keep going down and down and down as the game goes on. And then once SBCs come out, his price will kind of bubble a little bit, because people just need to buy these types of cards to do the SBCs. So right now, I recommend just selling, guys. Like, I'll tell you guys when it's good to hold on to some stuff. Like, I've got a few cards in my team, like Sergio Busquets and those types of guys that aren't really going for a whole lot. But I wanted the influx of coins in my club with Trent Alexander-Arnold, because I don't see his price really bubbling anywhere near what the card's value is for at least a little while. So if you want to be liquid, I would sell that type of stuff. But guys like Higuain, the 83s, 84s, they're at an all-time low. So if you want to invest, go buy 83s and 84s. They're super cheap. You can get them for a couple K. They're just going to go up and up and up, especially 85s too. Like guys like Thiago Silva, perfect example. He's like 5K. Like Link's really, really good. Brazilian, plays in the EPL, everyone's going to buy him. I think of guys last year like Jan Vertonghen, Alderweireld. They held their value. They were like 87 rated cards, and they held their value at like 30, 40K for like almost the whole year. They would only go up, and then they'd kind of come down to that 35, 40K range. They were just really, really good value cards. But right now, because there's no SPCs to dump this stuff in, anything that's like, in that 83, 84, 85 range, if you don't need the coins, just hold on to it. Anything above that, it's probably going to just drop and drop and drop, like that Alexander-Arnold. He might go up a little bit, but right now, I just think that the coins are more valuable, and I can use them to invest in the stuff that I need to do all these SBCs. But what you guys are seeing with all these SBCs that I'm doing is I'm doing them really cheap. Like, I'm trying to show you guys the actual value of the teams that I'm putting into it. Most of this stuff, I would say at least half, if not more, like they're all first owners, as you guys can see here. First owner card right there with Funes Mori. And then as we're going to go through the team, there's a couple that are like 200, 350, 500 coins. First owner, right? Like, so half of that team is first owner, and then the rest are no more than 500 coins, right? So let's say you average out about 2,500 coins, right? Like, to get a pack of something, it's nothing. 2,500 coins for any type of pack is good value. A rare mega pack as well for the group, that's the type of stuff that you need to do. You have to do those hybrid nations, have to do the hybrid leagues. I took a shot at doing the hybrid leagues and nations, I think, which is the complicated one where it's like 9 leagues and 11 nations. That one is really, really expensive and really, really difficult. Actually, I take that back. It's not super difficult. It's just the work around it, which I can show you guys, but I don't recommend necessarily doing this unless you just totally don't care about your record. To do those really hybrid ones, you need a loyalty on them. So essentially what it's looking at with the 9 leagues, I think, and 11 nations or something along, or it might be flip-flopped. But with that one, you need to basically do the exact recommendations of Futbin. And even when you go buy all those cards, you're going to need the loyalty in order to make it work. So you have to go in-game as soon as against the computer, quit out, or just go in and disconnect your server, which I can show you guys how to do if you really need to. But it's just really annoying. You have to go in and essentially just take 10 losses. It's a quick way of doing it, or you can just play out the 10 games with that team, and it's really, really obnoxious to do because it's super time consuming. And next thing you know, you've got the loyalty. But is it worth it for that one pack? I don't really think so. Over the course of the year, you can wait till that builds up. But if you're super, super eager to get those coins, be my guest, go do it. But to me, that one is really expensive and not worth the time and effort and money that you're going to have to spend in order to do it. But the hybrid nations, hybrid leagues, I totally recommend doing it. So while we're doing all of this stuff, every once in a while I'll play the odd offline game, which you guys aren't seeing just because the offline games are kind of boring. But I've got that coin influx with the 5 games and 500 additional coins per game. So basically every game that I'm going in, I'm getting 1,000 coins. And then we start unlocking random stuff. So that original one that you saw there, that was really just stadium garbage, which is like something, it's like a stadium theme or something, which I don't care. Right now my stadium, I haven't even been using it. I think I've been using like Goodison Park or something like that. I'm kind of building that stuff in the background. Maybe one day it'll look cool. But right now, I feel like I'm getting a lot of like tifos and stadium themes. And a lot of that stuff is pack filler. And I don't want to, it's not worth anything. And I don't really care too much. The only one that I take back a little bit is the tifo. So I ended up going and buying bidding on the DC United tifo just to match my badge because it was really annoying me having the big, Dutch Netherlands KNVB logo up there because it didn't match the background of my stadium. So I did end up buying that one. I think it was like, I got it for like 150 coins on bid. So all of that stuff, anything to do with like kits, badges, tifos, all of that stuff, I just recommend going in and doing it with bids, where you can find some crazy good values, and it's also a really good way to make coins. Go find like teams that kits sell, like Manchester United is going to be tough because every single person is bidding on it, but go find ones like LAFC, which is that black kit from MLS that has YouTube TV on it. Everybody wants that, so every once in a while just go in and check, and if someone puts it well below the value, you can buy it and just flip it. It'll instantly sell for 400 or 500 coins, but if you manage to get one for that, you can always flip that thing for about $2 or $3 grand. So really good profit to be made there. That's just one example. Orlando Pirates is another one that I found has sold quite well. You can just go through, but like any of the gold stuff is going to get packed a ton. Silver ones are just really where it's at, because bronze also are going to get packed a ton because everyone opens up bronze pack doing bronze pack method. which again, I can show you guys if you guys are interested in bronze pack method, but I don't personally like to do it just because it's just so time consuming, and it's a whole series in itself. But silvers, there's a lot of money to be made in them, especially once the League SBCs come out. So don't discredit silvers. People look at them and they just think this is not a usable card, but I do not recommend discarding them. You never know what's going to come out where you're going to need silvers. There's actually some SBCs that are coming out already, just these pop-up ones that are coming out, where it requires you to have 3 or 4 silvers or whatever in the squad. So make sure you're holding on your silvers, guys. They hold a lot more value than their discard. So what you guys are seeing here now is actually me playing around with the team. I did pack Bergwijn, so I want to put him in. He's about 6K, I think, like that. At that, in his current state, a decent card. I wanted to get a little bit more pace on the wings. The problem with central formations is because when I go to a 4-2-3-1, all the central cards, when EA put guys into like a CDM or CM or whatever position, they tend to drop their pace. They don't want a bunch of speed in the midfield. Same thing with wingbacks and center backs. Wingbacks always have really high pace, but when they move centrally, they drop the pace down. And a good example of that this year is David Alaba. He was a left back forever and ever and ever, 85, 86 pace consistently. Now that he's a center back, they just nerfed him down to, not nerfed, but he's at like 77 pace, right? And the reason for that is they don't want key positions to be too fast, too early. So 77 is good for this, but at the same time, later on in FIFA, he's going to be way too slow. So once he starts getting a couple special cards, that speed will go up. But right now, it's just unfortunate because he's not one of the faster guys. So there's not a whole lot of 80 plus rated or 80 plus paced center backs. That's why these guys have so much value. Even guys like Tomori, he's essentially a discard value, but right now because he does have 80 pace, he's about 1,000, 1,100 coins. As you guys are seeing here, like the guys that I'm putting in my team, one of the common themes is just get as fast a team as possible. So if you can't afford to get anybody really expensive or you haven't had any pack luck, just go do what I'm doing, which is build a really quick team. Pepe, Bergwijn 6K, Pepe's 26, if that. I think it was actually less than that. I think it was like less than 2K. And then Hector Bellerin was like 26, 2,700 coins. All of this stuff, 2,000-3,000 coins. You play a couple games, next thing you know, you got these guys. But I'm just trying to build as fast, cheap beast team as possible, and then everything else that's of like higher value, I'm just trying to keep myself liquid, because eventually they're going to come out with an SBC, which might be stupid, but like I'm going to fall in love with. Like if it was like Lacazette or something like that, I might go buy all the cards that I need to do that Lacazette SBC. But there's no point in doing a lot of these like Calvert-Lewin type cards. Like they're too low rated and they're too expensive. Those are coin sinks. And all these player of the months that have come out, like none of them really interest me. I can't remember who the one from the Bundesliga that just came out today was, or yesterday it might have been, but he wasn't of interest to me. Ansu Fati wasn't interest to me either. All these like guys are just kind of very average. And then if they do come out with one that's really, really good, he's going to be super through the roof. Like a guy like Sergio Aguero. If they come out with the Sergio Aguero player of the month SBC, he'll be like 1 million coins. So it's kind of a lose-lose type of scenario. All the ones that are affordable are crappy, and all the ones that you really want are just way too expensive. So I don't advise doing any of that stuff right now. Right now, it's just about finding valuable SBCs, banking stuff, unlocking packs, unlocking objectives, utilizing the stuff you have at your disposal. But anything that's kind of high-rated, check the market and stay on top of what is going on with these guys' trends. So, like, let's say I wanted to hold on to that Alexander-Arnold. I'm going to go on and check and see if his price is dropping rapidly every day. Just offload him as quickly as possible, because I don't see them releasing like icon SBCs or anything anytime soon. So it's going to take a while for that card to go back up. So just keep yourself as liquid as possible. Trust me, later in the year, you're going to thank yourself because you're going to want as many coins as you can. But right now, they're trying to do as much as they can to get you to kind of dump coins into players and stuff like that. Don't fall for untradables. SBCs can be very deadly when you're doing it for cards that you can't trade, which most of them are. Anything that comes out as like a SBC player of the month or special version or unlockable or something like that, they're never tradable. So just be careful. Make sure it's a card that you really want to use. For me, I either make sure that it's going to be one that I'm going to use almost all year, if not end game. Anything else, I'm just like, I don't care right now about it. The only kind of, I guess the only like counter argument to that would be if you're doing, if you're trying to build a team to compete in FUT Champs, which probably most people that are watching this series aren't, but the FUT Champs guys are going to need the best cards possible. But even these cards that are out there for the SBCs, I don't think that they're really of great value. So I did actually have my tactics in here, but I do want to go through the tactics live. I didn't want to do it post-com just because the tactics are really important. I want to explain exactly what's going on. So I'm going to leave that for the next video. I'm going to do a live com. It's just going to be exclusively tactics so you guys can understand it. And then maybe we'll go into a game and I'll actually show you exactly how I utilize each one of those different formations and different tactics at different points in the game. And eventually we do want to get our team online here within the next couple episodes, because our team is getting really close. I'm pretty excited about where we're at with them. They're at a point where they're essentially really usable now. It's just, I just haven't had motivation to go on because there's nothing really to play for other than maybe a couple coins here and there by going through the divisions. But divisions are so sweaty that, like, I don't know. I just need something. I need something to come out. I think that's going to be what really gets this series going, other than me kind of showing you my trading approach and me doing SBCs and how I find value in it. I think the big thing is going to come once a card comes out that I'm just like, I really want to get. The only guy that I would kind of fork out some dough for right now is Clarence Seedorf, because he's one of my favorite players. But he's like 1 million coins still, and I'm not going to sit there grinding away for 1 million coins. He's going to drop and drop and drop throughout the course of the year. Eventually we'll do it. But these last two SBCs here, what you're seeing is the two that came out today at 1 o'clock. One of them is the 75 rated plus card, which is, they're a little bit of a coin sink because you just have to dump a bunch of stuff in, but there was a bunch of brick slots in it, and it was really easy to do. There was no overall rating. I think you just needed 3 silvers, so I did it for free based on just stuff that we've had sitting in our club. I try to make sure that I use as many low-rated silvers as possible, and I think the only card we had to buy was one 200 coin bronze card. So for 200 coins, I ended up getting a 79 rated card, and it could have been even better than that. I think that was about as, I don't want to say as bad as you can get, because I could have got a 75 rated guy, but he's not a usable guy. Hamdallah, he's just one of those guys that you're going to pack a zillion times throughout the year, so watch for that. I'm going to get him again, trust me. But right now, for a 79 rated card for essentially 200 coins, I'll take that. And then everything else that you're seeing at the very end here is us doing the other SBC, which was, I think, for a Prime Electrum Players Pack, and we get the guy that I was talking about earlier. So, again, very cheap SBC to do. It only costs, I think we had to buy a couple bronze cards, but it was less than 2K, and we ended up getting Thiago Silva, who, like I said, is just going to go sit in the trade pile, and eventually we're going to sell them off. Now we've got 2 of them, and if I can sell them both and they jump up in price, that could be like 20 to 30K. So that is going to be the end of the episode, guys. I appreciate you watching, and until episode 4, take care. Peace.